All right, so it's pretty late. Not really. It's like 11. I was editing some other videos and I noticed the subs for Kamen Rider Gavv dropped. So I was like, you know what? It's not my bedtime. It's Labor Day weekend. Let me watch this now. Well, because before I can get anything spoiled. So that let me just watch it, record my video. Then I can go and see what everyone's talking about on social media for Kamen Rider Gavv. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed this debut episode. Like the premiere. Like it was really good. Most episodes usually are. Usually, you want to hook people in. I'm trying to compare it to other uh seasons in Reiwa at least. I don't want to compare it to Heisei stuff. Um, it was good. Top two, probably. I still really think Geats was like insane for their first episode with all the action. But this was not short of action. It's been a while since I've reviewed any Toku shows. I'm not going to give you the play-by-play. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my opinions on the episode, some plot points, some stuff that happened in the episode. Keep it short and simple. You've already seen the episode if you're watching the review, so you don't need my play-by-play. I don't like doing play-by-play. I'm not going to do that. A lot of interesting elements. Mainly, we have to talk about how the show opens up. Shoma, who is apparently, well, we already know an alien. I should preface this. I didn't watch the press conference. I didn't watch any of that stuff. Um, the only thing I've done besides the toy videos, which you've seen, the only other stuff I've looked into was when the OP dropped earlier, and that's it. That's all I've done. So I'm going in this completely like without seeing anything. So, outside of forums. So the main character Shoma, he's like, it's kind of cool. The opening, it just starts off with action, like he's running from someone in this group, and then he's in this cool labyrinth with all these doors, and he falls through a door, and the door opens, and he falls through that door, and that door is like a plane door. So now he's falling out of the sky, and I was like, and he talks about, this is the world my mom's from. So I'm like, if he's an alien, and his mom's from our Earth, that means he's like half whatever these aliens are. I believe they were like Granute. I don't know how to enunciate it. Obviously, if you've seen my videos, you know me and the enunciations and the pronouncing of things doesn't always work. But I did think all that stuff is cool. Instantly, I'm gonna like this show because he's found on the waterfront, passed out and asleep, by a little boy whose name is Hajime. Now, one of my favorite seasons has a character named Hajime. So instantly I'm like, I like this. This is a good show. Good season already. Peak. I think hopefully it stays peak. But he asks for food. The cool thing about all this is like there's a lot of moving parts, right? Like we have Shoma, now we have the kid Hajime, was collecting seashells for his mother. We get introduced to this freelance writer slash journalist Hanto, who's trying to find these missing, like basically looking into these missing people reports and talking about, if it's a monster. Whereas I assume the guy he's working with says no, it's probably murder. That's a subplot that I'm sure will get touched on even more, hopefully. But I was wondering if he's an alien, he looks like a human, he's half human. Like, how human is Shoma? There's a whole scene where Hajime's, crossing the street and a car's about to hit him, and he, protects him, putting his back towards the car, and the car crunches. If you've seen this movie called Hancock, it kind of reminded me of that. It reminded me of a lot of the superhero stuff they've done. They've done it with the Hulk, they've done it with Superman, they've done all this, and I don't care how many times they do it. I'm going to enjoy a scene like that. And it was kind of funny because the drivers were still holding on the steering wheel and like flying through the windshield. I thought the balance of the humor to like action and like serious, like there's a lot of serious things that I want to know about. Then there's a lot of funny things. I took some slight notes. I know I did. And it was mainly because I was like, well, there's probably going to be some stuff that I'm going to want to like keep track of, because like I want to know more about the alien race that Shoma is, because now we have this whole divide of, well, we have the aliens that want to eat people for the dark treats, and then we have Shoma who doesn't want to eat people. And so then there's a lot of flashbacks to Shoma's mom. So I'm just like, all right. I'm always wary about the parent stuff. The last couple seasons, like Gotchard never really resolving anything with the dad or even showing his face. Geets with the arc of his mother and stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, you have a chance to kind of like do this right. So I'm curious about stuff like that. I'm curious about this infighting within the alien race because he was running from them to in his homeworld to escape. It was this room full of doors. Cause I was like, if there's all these doors with like different universes or alternate realities or anything like that, and I'm like, there's like that can open the door. Like this could have been a good like anniversary season almost. Um, so with that being said, I did we do get introduced to our monster. I guess like it is just a um granite. I wrote it out GRANUTE like the subtitles, and I couldn't. And I tried to rewind it and hear better what they said. So I'm just gonna say granute or granute, something like that. Um, so we find out this guy was kidnapping the humans, and the humans are like wrapped up in kind of like a Laffy Taffy fruit by the foot thing, and they're like this big. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So humans are getting kidnapped, given to the alien race. And this guy, he turns some in and he gets like a cool little gummy cube thing. When he eats it, he gets this cool monster thing, like Krang style from Ninja Turtles with a mouth. And he's now hunting after Hajime to eat him. And this leads to all the fighting. I want to say flat out, for first episode, we got blood. We got a lot of good action, a lot of CG, which honestly, with Toei's budget and this and that, I'm always kind of a little. I'm not really too hard, like and strict and like meticulous about the CG they do. You know, it's still entertaining, because we got a lot of CG. We saw, you know, even the monster at one point turned into a CG like wolf beast creature, and they're chasing each other around the city. Holy crap! I missed the most important part. So the Gochizos, I was curious about these gimmicks. I was so curious because they intrigue me. I like them. I'm going to collect them, even though I said after Gotchard and, I haven't really gone deep in on a gimmick since Saber and Gotchard. So I was like, but they're cool and I know how I can display them. So I'm going to do that. So I was curious how these work. So, Shoma does ask, he's hungry, and the Hajime didn't have any food. He just had some snacks. So he starts eating gummies, and he's losing it. He's like, they're squishy and juicy, and this, and he's like, and he's just so excited to eat these gummies. And then all of a sudden, like out of the underneath his hoodie, like Gochizo start popping out, and I'm like, it's kind of like when you get a Magwai wet, and it starts popping off all the other little baby Magwais as little like fur balls that open, like it's like that, except. When Ajim asks, he's like, oh, I guess these are my minions. And I'm like, okay. And all I could think about, because these Gochizos, there's so many of them, and they're cheering him on while he's fighting. They're talking to him, this and that. And all the time, I just think of the little aliens from the claw machine from Toy Story, where like the claw, like that stuff. I'm just thinking of that every time I see them and they're talking. So he got a whole bunch of those because he was eating, gummies, and he had a lollipop. They did already hint, because you could see some chocolate and some chips on the table that he did not eat when he left. And I thought it was really interesting that from a fighting standpoint, by the way, the Henshin, oh, so good. I actually do have a Henshin reaction that will be going up after this review. I want to get the review out first. I did actually film myself reacting to the whole episode, because I was like, am I going to go back to reaction content, or am I just going to stick with just the reviews? I don't know. I might release it. I'm not sure. I might just put it on like a YouTube short or something. But I like how while it's fighting, any damage he gets, his armor kind of disappears, which I didn't know was a thing. And I was curious why in the most recent Candy Toy blog post from Bandai, which I have already recorded, which will go live after this, I was wondering why, like, they were showing how you can have the pieces, and then when he has more Gochizos, it comes back. I was like, what are they talking about? Now seeing this, while he's fighting, pieces of his armor, which are gummy and squishy, are popping off as he takes damage. If he puts another Gochizo in the Henshin belt and cranks the handle, the armor restores itself. And I was like, oh, and it kind of gives him a boost in power. I think that's a cool concept. Like, and I'm just like, instantly, I'm like, oh man, can you imagine a broken, like, I can't wait for the broken helmet scene, honestly. The fighting was really good. We got a lot of things shown. We saw the sword. We saw his room Gochizo that gave him the vehicle, which apparently when he shows the Gochizo to he's like, can you transform into that? Because a regular motorcycle went by, it made a noise, and now it can turn into a regular motorcycle. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to get this overly CG vehicle popping up more than once, because the CG vehicles don't show up often. Revice, for example, the Patera one that was like the hover vehicle, which looked amazing, wasn't really utilized much because it's, CG, whereas we have just a regular motorcycle. So I'm okay with that. We didn't really get much explanation of what he is as an alien, what's going on with the people being, kidnapped by what I would assume are humans or other forms of aliens. The dark treats. There's a lot of stuff, but it's like, it gave me all these questions, and I'm like, I still, like, I'm glad we didn't get too much answered. I think Hanto is going to be a cool character to watch as the show progresses, just from the standpoint of, hey, it's a journalist who's investigating things and a freelance writer, and I'm like, okay, another Blade reference. I could pull a Blade reference out of any show, honestly, I really can. But we got a Hajime and we got a writer. If he drinks a thing of milk, I'm instantly like, all right, we got it. But I enjoyed a lot of this episode. It was a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I'm looking forward to next week. And yeah, like I said, I didn't want to do play-by-play stuff. I just want to do quick videos, quick, easy to watch, go over the reviews, what I thought of it. As of right now, I feel like this had, like I said, it's tough because it's the first episode. It's always going to hook you. I'm not going to judge the show. I know some people who are watching it without subs are like, hey, this first episode is better than all of Gotchard. I'm not going to say anything like that because, like, that's just a very, like, out there statement to make. But I will say I really enjoyed this episode. I can't wait for the second one. I've got a lot of toys that are on the way from Japan. I'm financially in danger right now, honestly. So please subscribe to the channel, please. Like, I'm not going to financially recover from this show if it keeps being good, because, yeah, I'm going to get all the Gochizos. But yeah, no, that's it, really. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Because it's the first episode reaction. Like, there's a lot of moving parts, but, like, not at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, so I have a lot more questions than I do answers right now. So going forward, the reviews, I'll probably have more to break down, and I will talk more about plot points. But since it's the first episode, I didn't want to fully, like, spoil everything, I guess. But that's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Gavv. Any theories? Like, okay, let me ask you this. What was your favorite moment? Because mine was probably the container fight scene before the Henshin, when Shoma was just getting destroyed by that alien. Like, he was getting rocked. There was blood. He was just getting beat down. And I did like the Gochizos, like, cheering him on, and then them being like, hey, eat the gummy, eat, and then he goes to eat the actual Gochizo, and it starts crying, and then they all form the actual Henshin belt and mimic how he's supposed to use belts. So then he's like, okay, I'll put it on my stomach, which I'm hoping that gets explained, why he has that on his stomach. And also the fact that, sometimes you could tell after he shows the Henshin belt that it's still under his hoodie, and other times there's nothing there. You can clearly see that from a wardrobe standpoint. And I was like, okay. But that's it for the video. I thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, like the video. Like I said, comment below, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next one.